Hoping to catch up with Hangman Adam Page to see exactly how he is spending Matt Hardy's money after beating him in a big money match last Sunday at Revolution. Whoa.
Whoa! What's up?
I guess one of the purchases that you've made was some of Matt's first quarter earnings?
Well, I got 6 bottles of whiskey. I got a brand new saddle. I got all of Dwight Yoakam on vinyl. I've given most of it to the Jacksonville Public Education Fund and a brand new lawnmower. Let's cut some grass.
Whoa. Hey, Adam, you got room for more people on there?
Yeah, come on, yeah.
Hey, guys, let's go!
No, dude, no. There's a weight limit. All right, you guys want to get ice cream? Ice cream!
You're listening to Talk AEW, the official wrestling podcast of Tilt Magazine and Goobastop.com. I, as usual, am Mariko McDonald, joined as always by the fabulous Ricky D.
What's up, Mariko? We missed you for the last 2 episodes.
Aww. And once again, we have Mr. Aaron Santos.
The cream rises to the top.
And on that note, all right, so to kick off the show, as usual, we are going to Ricky D for his rapid fire questions.
All right, question number 1. Does Dynamite have a new video package, or am I crazy?
They've made it shorter from what I remembered.
Yeah, I think it's just the footage from earlier, the last time they changed it, but I think they did edit it down a little bit.
Question number 2. Is it considered a demotion in the world of AEW if you are now partnered with a tag team when you're normally a singles competitor?
Not in AEW.
We all know the answer to the question. I'm just trying to start a conversation. But in the first match, it was Ray Phoenix versus Matt Jackson. Matt Jackson is normally in a tag team. Ray Phoenix is normally in a tag team with Penta, but now he's in a tag team, it seems, with Pac, who's normally a singles competitor. But by putting Pac and Ray Phoenix in a tag team and putting Penta solo, by doing this, we don't have the Penta Phoenix tag team combination, which is usually like really amazing. But we do have an amazing Pac versus Phoenix competition. But it does remove Pac from singles competition, meaning he won't go for the TNT championship or the heavyweight championship. But I don't feel like it's bad in terms of them doing this to Pac. Because like if you look at some wrestling promotions, whenever they take a superstar and put that person in the tag team when normally they are a singles competitor, it's because
they don't know what to do with them.
Exactly. But in AEW, I feel like it's completely reverse. I feel like they do it and it always ends up being positive. And because of them mixing tag teams, they tend to come up with some really good storylines.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, freeing up Penta to go after Cody, I didn't know that I wanted it till I got it.
And this plays more of like Penta's like personality, right? Because he was kind of like lost in the mix between like Pac and Phoenix, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix kind of is more visible in, you know, the flippy stuff that he does and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because he kind of steals the show with like his in-ring like abilities, right? So and Pac is basically like the like, you know, the charisma engine of like that trio.
Next question. Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, they appear in a video package doing a promo, which I thought was amazing. But do you think it would be better if AEW just completely never ever mentioned what happened at the end of Revolution? Or do you think that they needed to mention it at least once?
They needed to do something. I mean, the entire internet exploded.
I feel like they needed to at least address it once, and hopefully that's it. I don't feel like it needs to be like a running shtick on the show.
Yeah, please don't make this a running gag. Like, yeah, and if you're gonna have someone try and sell your BS excuse, get Eddie Kingston to do it, which is what they did.
Which brings me to my next question. If we can give him an award, what award would we give him? Not an Oscar, because it's not a movie. Like, would it be an Emmy? I'm always confused about what awards to give when it comes to television. I guess it's the Emmys, right?
Yeah, it's the Emmys.
Do they also have Golden Globes for TV, though?
Oh, right.
Oh
But I
yeah, they
hate the
do.
Golden
Yeah, yeah.
Globes.
Like a Critics' Choice Award or something, maybe?
An MTV
Well,
movie
that's what I'm trying
award.
to figure out because I hate the Golden Globes. The Emmys make sense, but I'm wondering like if there is, and I guess there is, if there is a TV Critic Association which gives out awards. So anyhow, this dude needs some awards for acting because he's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Next question: Cody Rhodes defeated Seth Gargis. So last week, Aaron, I asked you if we should have some squash matches every so often on Dynamite. I was a big fan of it, and I said, yes, we need these matches. And once again, 2 weeks in a row, we get a squash match. So did you change your mind? Are you not a fan still?
I don't know, man. I mean, like, what was the point? Was it like just an excuse to get Cody and Tony Schiavone in the ring? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You get
Yeah.
Cody in the
Yeah.
ring, and then you
I
start a
get- I
storyline
get-
with him and Penta.
I get it, but
And
it
Penta
does,
gave one of the best promos of the night, and there were some good promos that night.
for sure. It's just that, like, it just does nothing for Seth Gargis. Like, I just feel for the man for a bit. It's like,
No,
okay.
he does get some TV time,
Yeah,
but
he
like,
does.
put it
Yeah,
this way.
he gets the Dynamite, the TNT bump. I don't even think he's on a zero contract. He's enhancement entirely. So yeah, get on TV,
Well, he's
count the lights, and
he's
get your paycheck. Why not?
he's 0-3, right? So
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're expecting big things from him.
no.
Well, let me ask you this, Aaron. So, because we talked about this on not the last episode, the episode prior.
Mhm.
So, what would you prefer? A match that lasts about 2 minutes and therefore just sets up very quickly the new feud between Penta and Cody? Or would you actually want a longer match with someone who nobody knows versus Cody just to build up to the Penta match, which takes up valuable screen time on Dynamite when they only have a 2-hour TV show right now?
No, I get it. I'll take the shorter match. It's just that, sometimes there's part of me that thinks like probably could have been done another way, maybe. I don't know. We've seen Sting come out countless times, like, make an appearance.
Yeah,
Well,
we're sick of it. And if
True.
Christian doesn't say something soon, I'm gonna start calling him the new Sting. But that's just me.
I'm a big fan of it. I think it helps with the pacing. Anyways, we'll move on. So, I'm afraid to ask, but did anybody throw their controller, their glass of wine, a beer bottle, or any object at the TV when Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy challenged Miro for a fight with a ring surrounded by arcade machines? Because my controller went flying. My controller went across the room and hit the wall, okay? The first thing I did was I went on Twitter and I was like, nobody wants this, guys.
Yeah,
Twitter would be
no
like
one
the
is
last.
excited for this. No one wants this. We all want the feud to be over. We know that the baby faces didn't win and they need their comeuppance, but do this match and end it. Just end it. Like, have them lose because something happens and then Miro beats the shit out of Kip and then Miro can go on a tear and be the singles guy he was always supposed to be, and hopefully Kip can recover and Penelope can start wrestling again.
Yeah, it's just like I just rolled my eyes hard when I hear like Chuck Taylor like pleading to Miro for another match. I'm just like, please stop. Please stop
Yeah,
this.
I think it was just like a chorus of my husband and I just screaming, "No!"
Yeah, it's just like it's so frustrating because it's like the storyline just does not advance anywhere, and it does nothing to like push anyone anywhere.
No, it's not helping anyone at all.
Yeah, it's not helping anyone at all. So that's the most frustrating part about it.
Most people hate gimmick matches. Like, what do you call it when you have the men surrounding the ring again? It's the
lumberjack
match.
lumberjack matches. So this is a lumberjack match, but replace the wrestlers with arcade machines?
Like, I think that's kind of fun. Maybe that should have happened like 4 months ago. The stipulation doesn't bother me. It's the fact that this feud is still going on that bothers me. I mean, even Simon Miller gave it a down, and that guy is a teddy bear who loves everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's weird because AEW is positioning people who are gamers as heels. Did you notice that?
Oh, now that you mention it, yeah, it does seem like it. So...
It's very weird. Anyways, moving on. So Sting comes out. He doesn't say much, but to be fair, he gets interrupted by Lance Archer. So is Lance Archer going to heel now?
I mean, he was always kind of a tweener, anyways.
Yeah. He must. I mean, to be picking on Sting. So
At least Lance Archer is the only person in his program who understands how valuable time is, because he mentioned that 20 times in his speech. Time is very valuable.
mm-hmm.
QT Marshall, he turns heel officially. We've known it for a while.
Marshall when
QT
he's a heel.
Marshall.
Yes.
Dude, okay, Lee John. Okay, first of all, why was the internet complaining about the quality of the match? Like, the match was great.
I thought it was good.
I don't know. Everyone on Twitter was like going off about there was something wrong with the match. I don't know. The match was fantastic.
Oh, no, there was a sound issue. We didn't get it up here in Canada. There was something that went super wrong with the audio at the start of that match on the TNT feed. That's what people were complaining about.
From what I heard, there was a basketball match playing.
Yeah, the feed was like scrambly basketball with like some construction noise or something. Like, apparently it was terrible. Yeah, like the wrong audio got piped into the TV, so we didn't hear his music or anything. You just heard some random audio that had nothing to do with anything.
Okay, so I thought this match was fantastic. This might be a really stupid question, but Johnson didn't really get injured. It was all part of the show, right? Just so QT can actually like turn heel officially. Ethan Page, he really impressed me. I did not know he was from Canada, Toronto, Hamilton.
I knew he was in a tag team called The North, but for some reason I thought he was American, because like I saw a thing where he went to Disneyland. I just assumed he lived in LA. I don't know.
His finisher is the exact same finisher as Lance Archer, right?
Does like modified Razor's Edge.
Exactly. It's just weird because, I mean, he's not as big as Lance Archer, so how is he going to pull off that kind of move on a big guy?
I guess we'll see.
Huh. Anyways, I was really impressed with Paige and Lee Johnson, as per usual. I'm always impressed with Lee Johnson. What did you guys think of both guys?
I liked it. I thought it was a good match. I liked Paige's intensity. Just looking really aggressive, really heely. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like that, you know, in the beginning of the match they let like Ethan Page cut a promo, like a video promo, so it kind of like showed off a bit of like his talking chops, and it was funny because I could have sworn at first second I thought he was going to do like Steiner math when he was talking about like percentiles and stuff. So so we'll see.
What was the highlight of Dynamite? And there's only one right answer. There's no opinion. It's fact. Everybody knows it, but I want you guys to say it.
Well, for me, it has to be the ending.
No, Aaron, it's not. It's the lawnmower scene. The lawnmower scene.
I knew it was a swerve. Damn it.
Thoughts on the Dark Order and Hangman Adam Page and the lawnmower?
Yeah, that made me smile so hard.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he got his lawnmower. All right, good for him. He had enough for his lawnmower. For those who like haven't seen like BT.
Okay, so what was the second biggest highlight of the night? There's only one right answer.
Maki Itoh continuing to sing after her music was cut and everyone has started beating up on each other.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I tweeted to Tony Khan. I'm like, can we please have her on every episode of Dynamite? I know she's still green. I know she still needs to like get used to the American wrestling lifestyle and whatever. She's new to AEW. I think she's only been on TV like twice so far, at least here in North America. But damn, that girl's got personality.
Oh yeah,
so much charisma. Did you see her at the end of BT this week?
Oh yeah, that was the best.
Oh, so good.
I love the fact that the Dark Order are like obsessed over her.
Yeah, it's so good.
Okay, and I guess the last question, we just got to touch on the Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky match really quick before we move on to our two main events. So, Darby Allin, once again, a show, or was he actually injured?
I'm pretty sure it was show.
I don't know, man. Like,
I think he was injured.
I think he really, I mean, because he took a few steps and then he just sort of like favored his ankle. So I don't know if that was a job. Like, it looked scary.
I think the outcome of the match was supposed to be the way it actually played out, in which Scorpio Sky does turn heel. But I'm pretty sure he actually hurt himself, just because if not, he's a better actor than Eddie Kingston.
But then why go after the leg at the end of the match?
Well, he has to.
They still have to sell it.
Yeah, they still have to sell it, right?
I don't
Because you
know.
can't.
I think it was a work, but I mean, I thought Matt Hardy hitting his head on concrete was a work. So what do I know?
Yeah, I mean, if it was a work, then man, good job. Like, it's the same thing with Serena Deeb and the knee. Actually, no. Actually, Serena Deeb did probably injure her knee because I remember. Well, news. Well, she got like a knee scope.
Yeah, I think she did. Yeah. I mean, it could be a work if so. Regardless, this was a fantastic match in terms of storytelling, especially if it was a work. Because give this dude an Oscar, or an Academy Award, or an Emmy, or whatever it is, these awards for acting. But also, it really showed how good he is technically, like down on the mat.
Oh yeah,
Not just a high flyer taking crazy moves. Like he can actually wrestle. Yes, he's still skinny and smaller than most of the roster, but the dude can wrestle. Love Darby Allin. I think he's my new favorite, but Sammy did come back. We'll talk about that later. But that has been Ricky's rapid fire questions, and I did it in less than 40 minutes this week.
nice.
Hey. All right, so we're going to move on to our first talk spot of the evening. What do we think Christian is going to get up to in AEW? But first, we're going to take a little break.
Well, folks, here it is. The big explanation everyone wants to know about. It's a little embarrassing, but, you know, I'm me. When I went in that ring and I covered my friend thinking there was going to be this big explosion and all these fireworks, I caught a flashback to the last time I had this anxiety. Last time I had this kind of panic where I couldn't breathe. And that's when I was sitting in a jail cell getting ready for court. And I had the guards walking back and forth telling me, we're going to take you to Rikers, boy. We're going to take you to Sing Sing, boy. And everything went black. That's what happened. Go ahead and make fun of it. Call me a coward, less of a man. I'm not speaking for you, and I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to those that understand where I'm coming from. Kenny! You think this is a video game? Look at the heat. Look at the heat. That's what I felt in that ring. Look at these hands. I didn't scar them up playing video games. You think you're the Joker? You think this is funny?
And we're back talking Christian. So Aaron, you have some thoughts about what you'd like to see. Where do you think this is all going?
Right, I think this is all going to Christian getting the World Heavyweight. No, not World Heavyweight Championship. AEW Championship.
It's called the world title.
Is it the world title? I'm so because like I don't want to say World Heavyweight and get confused with like WCW. But anyway, I mean I thought it was a very nice tease to see Christian like holding that belt. There's something about that moment that like just gave me like butterflies in my stomach, you know. So yeah, I was just gonna say like if there's anyone that like I don't know, man, just like because like I listened to like Renee Paquette's interview to Christian on the Oral Sessions podcast, and just like hearing his comeback story and the work that he put in to like get himself back into shape and everything, I don't know, it just feels like such like a Cinderella story for him to like come back and like challenge for like the heavyweight championship. So
did he mention if he was trying to get back to WWE? Did he get into the specifics of why he landed on AEW?
Yeah, he did talk about wanting to come back to WWE. Well, first of all, he wasn't totally sure because he came back last year on Raw and he had like an unsanctioned match with Randy Orton, and he kind of like decided for himself in that moment where it was like, okay, well, I was back in the ring. Like, yeah, he did take a bump, but it kind of like sparked his motivation to want to come back. So that's when he went to like see a bunch of like neurosurgeons. Like, for those who don't know, like Christian like left WWE because of concussion, and he was in high risk of being like he was in high
like
risk, right?
serious
So
CTE.
yeah, like serious. So that's why he had to retire for like 7 years. So yeah. Well, anyway, going back to the Raw and Christian and Randy Orton, he kind of like thought to himself like, is it possible for him to come back? And then he put in the work. He did like countless hours of like testing, flying like back and forth to different cities, like certain neurosurgeons, and then he got the clear, and he just for a year with minimalist, from what he says on the podcast, like minimalist like gym equipments in his garage, like put in the work. He hired a nutritionist, the same nutritionist as Edge, and like just put in the work and came back for a Royal Rumble. But I mean, just that story alone, like for like, you know, everything that he's been through, like you can't help but feel like just butterflies in your stomach, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were thinking it was going to be Hangman as like the heroic babyface to finally take the belt off Dastardly Kenny, but I really like the idea of Christian doing it. I gotta say.
You know, there were so many people, we talked about this on the last episode, who were upset that the mystery man was Christian, and I think that's partly to blame because of the marketing and the hype. But I think you're
it
also
was just
to blame, right?
Yeah, bad hype, and then the internet just being the internet.
When Christian came out during the PPV, I was like, that's a bit underwhelming, because I popped when he came out, but then he didn't do anything. He just signed a piece of paper and left. When he came out on Dynamite, even though he didn't really do much, I thought he had more star power, more charisma, and looked more intimidating and more confident than every single person on the AEW roster.
For sure. Because he walks in with like you said, like he just walks in with this air of confidence. Like the way he like came in, and he didn't necessarily run in. He just like walked in casually, you know, sees Kenny Omega, and just like, you know, doesn't flinch. No, there's no nervous look on his face. He just like looks at Kenny Omega, the AEW champion, and Kenny Omega like offers his hand, and then again like faceless expression, and then goes for like the what's his move again? I was gonna say Unprettier, but I forgot what he called it on TNA. But anyway, he goes for the Unprettier, you know, just like on a moment's notice. So,
but the thing is, when Matt Hardy came, like, I mean, Matt Hardy is still not what he used to be. He's somewhat out of shape. He's older. He doesn't move as fast as he once did. Christian, like Edge, looks like he's in better shape than most of the roster.
No, he's aged like a fine wine.
Yeah,
for real. Like, I was like so impressed.
He's got the confidence of his age too, and his experience, and I think that's what resonated when he walked out so confidently. And you know, he's not the youngest guy, but that's what makes him so good, and so you know, his comeback's so exciting.
And like his shirt says, like he's ready to outwork everyone.
I would have much preferred to have Christian show up at Revolution and somehow he ends up in a feud with Sammy, because I thought Christian versus Sammy Guevara would be incredible. The problem with putting Christian versus Kenny Omega is some people might not like it, because every time a WWE guy comes to AEW, he gets a title shot right away, or almost every time. I mean, or someone new, like, okay, Eddie Kingston came into AEW and he got 2 title shots. Brody Lee came into AEW. He had a championship around his waist within like a few weeks. And
but I mean, look at the age and the experience. Like, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to have those guys as the guys in the, you know, the top of the card.
No, not at all. But I really do think that him and Sammy would be incredible. It'll
still happen, probably. But it actually kind of disappointed me that Sammy's still tied up with Inner Circle. Like, I was hoping he was going to go off and do his own thing, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that after the break. I have mixed feelings, but Kenny Omega versus Christian, like, the thing is, I'm not entirely sure if that's what they are going to do, because we still have Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston in the mix, but it seems like they're going to form a tag team. Jon Moxley's already had the championship, and then he had 2 shots to regain the championship, so Eddie Kingston already had 2 shots to win the championship.
Yeah, but have like a trios grudge match and then put Christian in there, and it's Kenny and the Good Brothers, and do that for one night, and then they all kind of split off into their own other little feuds.
Yeah, that could be the possible angle. I mean, like for me personally, like I would just rather see Christian one-on-one, because I don't want this Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega thing to be overplayed. Also, like I'm afraid for it to be overplayed. So, I mean, like I just want to see like a new like angle, right? Like a new story, and spin off something different between Kenny Omega and Christian.
Well, I think that's what was so exciting about last night was we finally got some new storylines all kicking off. We had lots of face turns, lots of heel turns, lots of unexpected stuff. But yeah, I mean, like I said, like the trios thing is like one night, and then you get into the actual meat of the feud.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it was a pretty good episode of Dynamite, because usually when you have a fallout show of a pay-per-view, you start to develop your new storylines, your new feuds, and that's exactly what they did. So all in all, I'm pretty happy Christian's in AEW, and we'll see what happens, because it's not a guarantee that they will have him compete for the championship, but it seems like they are, because, I mean, his first appearance on Dynamite, the guy is standing in the ring facing off against Kenny Omega, and then he lifts up the belt over his shoulders. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Christian's gonna he's gonna be the one who takes the belt off of Kenny Omega at this point in time. And while we're on the topic of Kenny Omega, okay, I know they are heels and they are supposed to be annoying, but I
69 me, Don, 69 me.
hate Don Callis and Kenny Omega right now. I hate these guys. They're like the embarrassing version of DX. Like when DX was trying to be cool, but they actually were cool and doing like childish, stupid shit like that. But these dudes are trying to do it. Oh my god, it pisses me off.
It is,
but it's exactly what you just said. They're basically personifying DX. So I don't know.
But they're not DX. Man,
I know they're not. I know they're not DX,
and they know they're not.
Yeah, they know they're not. I mean,
which
is
just why they're doing it.
I mean, like the whole like Bullet Club thing and the factions. Like all they do is pretty much like embody or like pay homage to like the 90s factions, or late 90s factions.
Man, I just want to see Pretty Peter Avalon kick Kenny Omega's ass at this point in time. I can't stand these dudes. Hate these guys.
What do you guys think of his new entrance?
Oh my god!
He's in a tag team with Cesar Bononi.
Peter. Oh my god.
Yeah, Peter. Sorry. Yeah, Peter getting pulled out on his little heart-shaped sledge. I love it. Love it.
I don't know, man. Kenny Omega, the Shit Brothers, and Don Callis can just go back to Impact and never come back.
Well, okay, not Kenny Omega because he has an executive on AEW. So, but anyway.
No, I mean I like Kenny Omega. It's just his character is annoying. Yeah, it's supposed to.
I totally get it. It's okay, but like me too. Like I'll admit, like I'm a Kenny Omega fan. I love Bullet Club back in New Japan. The Good Brothers, I'll admit it myself. Like the Good Brothers, like they have their moments. They do rub me the wrong way sometimes. That sounded wrong, especially talking about the Good Brothers. But
yeah,
it's like, but
we all saw BT this week.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I mean, I understand. Like I can see their frustrations. So,
but that's good. It's good heel heat. It's like they are
good.
So despicable.
Yeah, it's good heel heat, but I mean, going back to like our last week's discussion, I mean, like there are times that the Good Brothers, I feel like they're being used like improper, like not I wouldn't say improperly, but like their timing of their usage like kind of sucks sometimes. So
yeah, I'll be honest. Someone brought this up in YouTube thing I was watching today, but what is Impact getting out of this talent sharing agreement?
Well, what they're getting is they're getting Kenny Omega in a pay-per-view event for Impact.
Oh, that's right. Okay, he is going to be in a pay-per-view this week. But yes. I mean, other than that, I don't know.
Well, yeah. The question is, what is AEW getting out of this? They're the ones that are benefiting, not AEW. We get the Shit Brothers popping up every week and ruining matches. Like they just ruin every single match.
The Good Brothers? That's what I was just gonna say. I'm like, they're getting the Good Brothers? I don't know. Unless like Impact is gonna let Kenny Omega win the Universal Championship or like the Unified Championship in Impact. So I don't know. I mean, like I know Rick, like you admitted that you don't watch Impact, but like I mean, just to like catch you up on, because Impact is having a pay-per-view event this weekend. It's going to be Moose versus Rich Swann. Both of them are heavyweight championships, and the winner takes on Kenny Omega in the future pay-per-view event. So.
Oh, okay. It's not this one. He'll be in the next one, I see.
Not in the next one, because like right now, like Moose is like the TNA champion, and he's gonna face Rich Swann, who is like the Impact champion. So like I guess those two titles.
Okay, it's like a title unification thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Aaron, just to be clear, I don't really have a problem with Impact. They have some great wrestlers. They're doing their own thing, and I wish them the best of luck. What I don't want, and it's already getting out of control, is I do not want to have to watch 20 hours of TV to catch up and keep up with AEW. Right now we have Dynamite, fantastic. We have Dark, which I already told you I gave up on watching Dark. And now we're going to have Evolution, which starts this week. And we're going to have an extra AEW show by the end of the year. So it's already 4 shows. And now we have like this cross promotion with all of these wrestling promotions, like in this case, Impact and New Japan, et cetera, et cetera. So it's one thing to have a one-shot sort of like crossover. You know what I mean? Like it happens for like two episodes or of Dynamite and 2 episodes of Impact.
lead up at a pay-per-view or
exactly.
something.
But for it to be ongoing, plus watch BTE and Sammy's vlog and so on and so forth, like the whole reason why I started writing and podcasting about AEW was because it was a new wrestling promotion. I was able to start from the beginning. It's no different than wanting to watch a TV show, wanting to watch from the very first episode of the first season, and being able to keep up. So it's like I'm not going to watch The Flash if I have to watch Green Arrow, Supergirl, Black Lightning, and so on and so forth. You don't. Like every so often they do one big crossover, but you don't have to watch all those shows to understand what's happening with Barry Allen on The Flash. So that's my concern here.
Well, we'll see. We'll see like how this Impact and AEW. I mean, like for the moment, it's like the only storyline that crosses over with Impact is currently like Kenny Omega and whoever wins this pay-per-view event. So, I mean, there's like not too much that you have to follow. I mean, personally speaking, like for me, like I really don't watch a full episode of Impact anymore. Like usually I just get my recap and I'm good. So I try like this is the same thing with you, like you're saying, like because like there was a point where like I really want to watch all these wrestling shows, you know, like I was watching like Raw, I was watching SmackDown, I was watching Impact, I was watching New Japan. At some point, like I kind of gave up because
some people do it like it's a hobby, but I have too many hobbies. I play video games, I watch movies, I like read comic books, I have like 3 podcasts. Some people do it for a living, like they write about wrestling for a living, which is great, fantastic. But I just want to say, like, the problem with the Good Brothers is that they ruined what I thought was a good match at Revolution between Moxley and Omega, and it's not the first time.
I know I'm in the minority with not hating that ending, just because it fit with how shit Kenny Omega is right now.
I hated it as soon as they walked into the ring.
I know. I'm on my own little island with that one, but
you hit the guy over the head with a baseball bat 20 times and barbed wire and have 3 guys and a bomb and he still gets up. I was just like, guys, this is too much.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we are going to discuss happenings with the Inner Circle and a new faction.
When any great army needs to change their course in the middle of battle, they have a war council to decide the best possible way to continue on in the combat, and that's what we're doing tonight. Because the Inner Circle's been in a little bit of a decline over the last few weeks, over the last few months, but it's easily remedied because we are the smartest in the business today. So it's time for a new attitude, time for a new outlook. Maybe even it's time to introduce a new member into the Inner Circle.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Chris, with all due respect, I really don't think we need to add a new member, Chris. Matter of fact, quite the contrary, Chris. If I'm being honest, I think maybe it's time we let somebody go.
And we're back. So, on a post pay-per-view show full of surprises and turns, we had probably one of the biggest surprises to end out the show. What do you guys think about the new Five Horsemen?
So, before how I said the highlight of the episode was the lawnmower scene, I lied. This was the highlight of the episode.
Oh my god, the swerves,
this was amazing.
Swerves.
I mean, you all know I've been a huge fan of the Inner Circle. I've actually defended the faction several times on this podcast. I thought this was like amazing. A swerve on a swerve. Having Sammy walk out. I knew as soon as Jake and Santana and Ortiz stepped forward, I knew they were going to actually be on the side of Jericho.
Yeah.
I did not expect it.
Really?
I really thought, like, I don't know if it's me putting the bar a little too low for Inner Circle for it to be like that predictable, but I did not expect the Inner Circle to turn on MJF. I don't know. I didn't expect it.
To be fair, I feel like AEW in general leading up to this pay-per-view had gotten very predictable. Even Dynamite.
Well,
we talked
exactly.
about how some of us stopped watching Dark because you just know what's going to happen. And I felt that way about Dynamite for a long time. I was expecting more surprises at the pay-per-view. Other than the ones that were teased. That didn't really happen. But, whoa! Talk about a swerve.
So I was sure that I was absolutely positively sure that because Sammy came out and they weren't putting Sammy in some different storyline, I was 100% sold that the Inner Circle would stay the Inner Circle and turn on MJF. But I did not expect MJF to be aligned with FTR and Tully, because on the last episode we talked about the idea of them forming the Four Horsemen but with Cody Rhodes. I never ever thought about putting MJF in there. Now that I think about it, I'm like, that should have been, it's perfect. It should have been my number one choice.
well because MJF like was already with the faction. He was already like really, his storyline was pretty entrenched with Inner Circle already. For me personally, I was pretty damn sure that he was going to take over the Inner Circle. So,
do you remember what I said last week? So, I said before I flip out over the fact that Jericho and MJF lost so quickly because they just formed as a tag team. This is their first match and they lost against the Young Bucks. I was like, before I flip out, I want to see where the story goes. And my comparison was to watching a TV show, for example, Game of Thrones. You're on like season 1. And you don't know where it's going, and so they do something, and you question the motive of the character, or you question whatever the storyline or plot is. But it all makes sense once you get to episode 9 or 10 of season 1, right? And I was like, that's what I was trying to like say. I was like, I want to see where the story goes. And remember, Aaron, I said that I found it weird for them to break up the tag team of MJF and Chris Jericho so soon, because Jericho normally, when he gets involved in a storyline, it lasts a long time. So technically, yes, they broke up the tag team, but it is part of still the storyline. So it all makes sense. And I thought it was amazing. I thought this was, honest to God, like the Inner Circle. I said this many times on the podcast. Chris Jericho is the reason why I started watching AEW. And I continue to watch AEW because I just love the program and the talent involved. But I think the Inner Circle, for me personally, I think the Inner Circle is what has been like the go-to faction. Those wrestlers have been the wrestlers, or their storylines have been the ones I've been most invested in since the start. Not always, but like when I think back at the Jon Moxley storyline with Chris Jericho and the Cody, and just a bunch of stuff that's happened with the Inner Circle, them going to Vegas, the Dinner du Bonheur, all of this stuff. Like they're always finding ways to reinvent themselves, and they are still a faction 2 years in, like 2 years later, because they formed as a faction on the very first episode of Dynamite. They are still a faction, and they are still finding ways to make it interesting so we don't get bored.
Exactly. I mean, like, if there's one thing I can say about like Chris Jericho and his creative like take on the factions and everything. I mean, like what I admired always about Inner Circle, no matter like how bad, maybe sometimes like, an episode with the Inner Circle doesn't go anywhere. I always felt like it in the end it always mattered, I felt like no matter like how lost the storyline might be, but it always just seemed to have a direction, and that's what I appreciate about like Inner Circle. Because when you look like I said, like going back to like Kenny Omega or Young Bucks or whatever, or other factions, like the storyline is always like convoluted and messy, and then it's always going like a million directions. But like Chris Jericho and Inner Circle always went in the same direction. They've always been about Inner Circle and always been about championships. So
and friendship, like the main
and friendship, yeah,
that's the reoccurring theme. It's friendship, and you see it in this episode where Jericho's like, "Do you actually think that we haven't spoken to each other every single day?" Of course we have. Sammy's his best friend. They have
the
to.
power of friendship.
So. Yeah,
they have
for
to,
sure.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this was amazing. It was like you said, Mariko. It was so obvious. It was so clear as day. Put MJF with FTR, and well, maybe not Shawn Spears. I still question that choice.
I always wanted him as part of FTR. I think he makes a good heavy. I think his work style complements them. I was surprised they actually did it, because we'd all been speculating it was going to happen for so long, and then was it at the pay-per-view or was it last week on Dark when
it was last
he came
week.
out? Yeah.
He came out during the Jungle Boy Luchasaurus match.
That's right. Yeah, so when that'll happen, it's like, oh, okay, so we are getting like 4 Horsemen or whatever. Cool, I'm looking forward to that. And then this happened, we're like, 5 Horsemen and Wardlow's one of them, and FTR versus it, Proud and Powerful. Oh my god!
So, I mean, I guess technically it is still 4 Horsemen because Wardlow is considered a bodyguard.
Bullshit!
In the eyes of MJF, Wardlow is considered the help. Okay?
Yes,
MJF is like not letting him take the spotlight, even though Wardlow is clearly the best wrestler in that lineup.
But that is true, though. He is being, it's gonna be 4 Horsemen with Wardlow.
And the manager and the butler. Well, not the butler, the bodyguard. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think that's the way they're going to frame it, because...
Exactly.
There'll always be 5 Horsemen in my heart.
Look, Wardlow is by far, I think, the best wrestler of... Well, he might actually be the best wrestler of those 5 guys. He's definitely the biggest.
I would 100% agree with that. like Wardlow is like... That, like, even like JR during the commentary, like he wasn't like pushing Wardlow, even though he wasn't
Yeah, JR did some really bad commentary though. Like that's what I don't like about JR. He's trying so hard to sell the dudes that he loves. Okay, fine, but you don't put everyone else under a bus live on TV when you're doing commentary. He does this over and over again. Yeah. He especially he likes to put, and I love Jack Perry. Jungle Boy is one of my top 5. But whenever Jungle Boy's in the ring, like he loves to put him over and put everyone down. So in this segment, he just kept on raving about Wardlow and made it seem like he's the only person that's really worth a damn in this new faction, which is very odd for an announcer to do.
Well, he was putting in the work, like, destroying Jericho, but I totally get the argument.
Yeah, I just wish he would stop trying to make woman handle happen. Anytime Nyla Rose gets her hands on someone, he refers to it as being woman handled, and I just want him to stop.
Well, he has said some dumb shit in the past, so
I mean, I'm sure, and I know he's trying, but like, just don't.
It's funny to watch, or not watch. It's funny to listen to JR try and do commentary when it's a bunch of Japanese girls in the ring wrestling. He has no idea what to do or say. He doesn't even know their names. Thank God for Excalibur, which a lot of people, again, we talked about the commentators a while back. I like the trio. I think they complement each other. But a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't like Excalibur. I'm like, if you don't have Excalibur, I don't know who can actually keep up with the rotating door of constant new talent going in and out of AEW, and especially all these wrestlers that come from places like Impact and New Japan and so on and so forth. Like Excalibur is like a walking dictionary. He knows every move, everyone's name, their history. He does his homework. And JR
he knows he's a punching bag, and he knows how to take it, and I think he's good at it.
Yeah, but
Like,
I just feel
even
like
-1 was telling him to shut up. Oh man, yeah, you should have checked out Dark last week. He was doing like interpretive dance in the back while Tay Conti was Ty Conti, sorry, was wrestling. It was hilarious.
Oh, I missed last week's. I watched this week's though. Fuego de la Sol.
Oh yes,
Finally hit his tornado DDT, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that was a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of a little let down. It's not Cody. At the same time, I thought this was an incredible swerve.
I mean, I've defended Cody a lot, and I still like Cody, and he's a good worker, and he's.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole martyr complex, like, it is easy to laugh at.
Well, it is, and sometimes it just goes a little too far. Well, not too far, but like it's too much.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. But like I said, going back to our topic, I mean, MJF like as the leader of the quote unquote Four Horsemen, because at this point I don't know if they're gonna call themselves the Four Horsemen. Are they gonna call themselves the Four Horsemen?
I don't think so. I think there's
legal ramifications, right?
No, actually, no. You know who owns the rights to the Four Horsemen though? It's Conrad, and he was on the show last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
he owns the rights. The reason why I mentioned the Four Horsemen and the whole idea of putting Cody in the Four Horsemen was because Conrad was there, and I know he owns the rights to the Four Horsemen. Why he owns the rights, I have no idea, but he does.
Yeah, because like that's what I'm trying to wrap my head, because you would figure at the end, with the camera looking up on the ramp, like you would maybe see them put up the Four Horsemen symbol. So that's why like I'm trying to figure out, like, are they really going to go as the Four Horsemen, or is it just going to be
because they were doing the four when Shawn Spears joined them, so like I don't know what's going on with that.
Not only that, but Arn did the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Arn still thinks he's a horseman, so like I don't know what the new faction's going to be, but I'm excited for it.
No, I'm totally excited for it too, and now that you mention Arn too, it's like, well, what angle does it spin with Arn and MJF and this new quote unquote Four Horsemen,
Ooh, Arn versus MJF.
You think?
Main event next pay-per-view.
Leadership of the Four Horsemen are passing it.
But here's the bigger question. So it's clearly going to be MJF versus Sammy, not MJF versus Jericho. Or at least I hope. But then what do they do with Jericho?
Jericho against Wardlow.
He gets to fight Arn?
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't. You have FTR versus Santana and Ortiz. You got Jake Hager versus Wardlow. You got Sammy versus MJF. And what? Chris Jericho versus Shawn Spears? Or is it going to be
Shawn Spears can get a good match out of anyone, and so can Jericho. It'll be entertaining as hell. Like, I know Shawn Spears isn't the most charismatic guy, but he can work his ass off. Mm-hmm. He is a fantastic worker.
For sure. And who else to, like, get some like promo chops, or like getting some promo skills than working with Chris Jericho.
But it totally makes sense. It's 5 versus 5.
Yep.
The only thing is they have Tully, and they don't really have anyone like Tully on their side as a manager.
I mean, MJF is kind of, Jericho is kind of that role. Like he kind of has like a dual role within the faction.
Mm.
Anyhow, I'm really excited. Like I knew something big was going to happen because they ended the show with the War Council. I thought they were going to introduce a new wrestler.
Something big had to happen.
Yeah. By the way, where is Shaq? Where is Shaq? Has anyone seen Shaq?
He's still unconscious somewhere. I don't know.
So that's gonna be it's just like bizarre. It's really, really weird how they just completely forget about some storylines and angles, and Shaq is one of them. It's just bizarre.
Well, I mean, at this point, man, I don't know what to think anymore about the whole like Shaq disappearance. So he's somewhere. He's certainly doing commentary for NBA. I mean, we know he's back there. So.
And from what I can tell, the match was well received, so we may see him wrestle more again. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, the last thing I need though is seeing Shaq like appear out of a lamp. So I don't know.
Been there, done that. And on that note, I think it is a wrap for the evening. I'd like to thank Mr. Aaron Santos for joining us.
No problem.
And Mr. Ricky D.
Thank you. And just a reminder to our listeners, you can find the podcast over at goombastomp.com and just check the wrestling section and our podcast section. And inside each individual post, you'll find the links of where you can listen to the podcast, which includes iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, Apple, which is iTunes, whatever. Like, it's everywhere. Amazon, you name it. If you like what you hear, leave us a rating on iTunes, I guess. Leave us a rating anywhere. And if you want to reach out to us, you can always email us at editor@goombastomp.com.
Or you can send us a tweet at Talk AEW on Twitter. All right, once again, this has been Talk AEW. Wishing you all a good night.
What a street fight, man. What a street fight, and what a comeback seeing you back here in AEW.
Antonio, let me tell you something about Darby. Darby is a dangerous, dangerous man. Puts his life on the line every single night. He takes risks. And when I say takes risks, it doesn't really describe all, because a lot of times it's not even a calculated risk with his own body, which makes him a very dangerous man. And you combine that with the Stinger in a menacing location like the streets, and voila! We get a win! Stinger gets a win! Darby gets a win!